So Succession is filled with difficult conversations gone awry, and this one from season 4, episode 6 is no exception. Here I'm going to unpack what goes wrong and how you could do it better.
Roman?
Yeah.
I want to talk to you.
Okay. What is that? I'm on a schedule, so what is this?
What happened?
With what?
With Joy.
Oh.
She's not picking up. She's got outside counsel.
Yeah.
What the fuck
I
happened?
fired her.
Okay, let's stop right there. This is already a ginormous do differently on how not to start a difficult conversation. First, Jerry is mad. We should never start a difficult conversation when you're mad. Second, she springs a surprise on Roman. You should never spring a surprise on somebody when you have something really serious to talk about. And it looks like this is really serious. But of course, this is classic Succession, complete with the F-bombs. Let's keep looking.
So?
Roman, you absolutely cannot fire a studio executive without speaking to legal and HR and having someone else present in case...
Right, except I can because I did.
What precisely did you say? Because now we are open to litigation and ridicule, and now we have to think of how to frame an apology or
I
back.
didn't fire her, okay? I said that she was fired to her, that's all.
What does that mean?
It means she's not gonna be in the fucking street, okay? We'll kick her up to international, or she walks and takes a fat fucking producer deal. You can work on the sweep up, okay? Chop chop.
Joy has a lot of relationships. She has a lot
do
of
I.
friends, and you are a weak monarch in a dangerous
No.
interregnum,
No.
and I think you need to reconsider.
This is something...
Okay, whew, that is a lot. You are a weak monarch in a dangerous interregnum. So one of the things we talk about when you're having a difficult conversation is triggering identity issues. And anyone who watches this show Succession, and even if you don't watch Succession, but by the way, you should watch Succession, knows that Roman is extremely insecure, particularly when it comes to whether he lives up to his dad's expectations. And so when Jerry says here that you are basically an interim CEO, basically in between two actual kings, right? This is an identity shot, and it's extremely unskillful unless her purpose is to completely throw Roman off. Now, we all know the history between these two, and that may well be the purpose, although if the stakes here are as high as they seem to be, which as we know from the show, they are extremely high, right? And even if you don't watch the show, if Roman fired somebody who's a senior person, and now there's going to be a lot of litigation, this requires an actual, real, hard conversation, not insults that really hit at identity issues. So no doubt here, right, Roman's going to have a really strong reaction.
Something that Dad would have done, and
Oh,
you know
well,
it.
maybe, but you're not your dad.
Okay.
I mean, you're in a
No,
more complicated
I'm what's
position.
left. Jerry, here's the fucking thing.
What?
You hauling me out of things, telling me to reconsider good calls, and using the F word freely, it feels disrespectful. I need...
Okay, I don't think I ever would have said this, but this is actually a semi-skillful move, even in this show where almost nothing is skillful and everything is just highly dramatic. But here Roman is saying, quite apart from the merits of the issue, dragging me out of a meeting, then using all sorts of bad language around me, makes me feel disrespected. That's kind of semi-skillful, right, for a nanosecond here. Although now, right, we're no longer in a difficult conversation about the merits of firing or not firing. We're now in a difficult conversation that is really a power play of sorts, but it's also about what is appropriate for a senior executive who has been with this company for a very long time, Waystar for a very long time, to do in front of her new boss, who has been a part of the company, but not really as senior for very long, and in fact is an interim co-CEO.
I need you to believe that I am as good as my dad. Can you do that? Can you do that?
Say it or believe it.
You don't treat me with sufficient respect, and that's a problem. Well, maybe I'll fire you too.
Sure, I'm not on the kill list.
So?
So Mattson will be very angry.
Madsen, I don't care.
Be serious, you're minding shop.
Oof, another huge insult, right? Ooh, Jerry, you are throwing them today. You're minding shop, right? When we are angry in difficult conversations, right, we all know this, we say things that we probably don't mean and that we shouldn't say. And one of the real skills is to kind of hold that back because, again, this kind of identity blow is almost certainly going to escalate this. And the last thing you want to do is escalate in a difficult conversation where you have less structural power.
Roman. Oh, no, Roman.
Yeah.
You cannot win against the money. The money is going to wash you away. Your dad knew. Tech is coming. We are over.
Okay,
Make your
this
accommodation.
is a simple business decision. You are not good at your job. Maybe Dad did know. Maybe I'm firing you for a list of failures I choose not to outline right now, but including a failure to close off our liabilities vis-a-vis claims against Waystar Cruises in a timely manner. That'll play nicely. Let's do that.
I am good at my job.
Shall we get started on the paperwork? You want to do it yourself, or do you want me to get somebody a bit sharper? Bye.
Okay, this ending is unsurprising. You throw identity blows at someone, they're going to probably throw an identity attack back at you. And so Roman basically says, you're not good at your job. And if there's one thing we know about this character of Jerry, right, is she thinks she's extremely competent. In fact, she thinks she's indispensable to Waystar. And what we ultimately have here is a power play. And structurally, at least in this power play and in this moment, whatever you may think about Roman, he is the CEO and he has the power. So let's just take a step back and look at how this conversation could have gone with a bit more planning and a bit more skill and maybe outside the dramatics of HBO's Succession. First thing we could take from this is when you have a difficult conversation, even one that feels urgent, taking some time to actually schedule it in a way that both sides can be ready for the conversation can be very helpful. Interrupting and then springing something on someone is much more likely to lead to a lot of emotional distress, emotional volatility. Secondly, when you begin that conversation, instead of making accusations in a hostile tone, you want to share the behavior that you observed, right? In this case, firing an employee perhaps without going through the protocol, and the possible impact it might have on the company, and then be curious to understand the perspective of the other side. What is unhelpful is having a hostile tone with very hot inquiry, right? So questions that aren't really questions, they're more like arguments that end in a question mark. Third, right, as much as possible, you want to try to not throw insults that attack someone's identity or core story about themselves. And fourth, as much as possible, you want to talk about interests that the parties may have, emotions that you may have, but what you don't want to do is turn it into a raw power play. Because soon as a difficult conversation turns into a power play, it usually results in escalation, as we see here, and escalation usually results in a bad outcome for at least one and sometimes both parties. So speaking of power, keep watching this next video, which is how do I negotiate when the other side has more power. Also, don't let this be your interregnum. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, and ring the bell so you never miss new content here. Okay, click, click, you know you want some more negotiation power.